initiator or Guruji classes, the 3 speakers in charge, we will rotate to do the MC. Starting from next lesson onwards, we will invite our class participants to rotate, okay, be the MC of our classes, okay, to learn to be the MC. Okay, so for the first lesson, they will introduce the speaker and also leading the 5 Chongde motto. For the second lessons, other than introducing the speaker, and also they will lead the 15 Buddha discipline. Okay, so they will take turns to do all the leadings of 5 Chongde motto and 15 Buddha disciplines. Okay, so this is the announcement that I made earlier on. So I will say again for those who just joined. Okay, and also today we have a good news. I saw this message. I must say it out. Okay. So first of all, let us congratulations to our sister Padmini, okay, for setting up the house temple today. Oh, give her a round of applause. Whoa. Okay, so this is the right way to support the heavenly mandate, follow the golden path, like just now our Guruji topic. Okay, very good, very well done. So give her a round of applause. Okay, congratulations, congratulations. Okay, so Guruji Mercifulness, can we start now? Shall we start now?
Yes, please.
Okay, can continue this PowerPoint. Okay. So just now, second lesson we start again. So we will 3 bow again. Okay. So number 1, 2 bow to all Buddha saints and sages. 1 bow, 2 bow, 3 bow. Great sage Bai Shui 1 bow. Bodhisattva Pushosi 1 bow. Okay, so 15 Buddha discipline. Okay, 15 Buddha disciplines. First, number 1, respect saints and Buddha. Number 2, respect seniors and guide junior. Number 3, be restrained, dignified, and righteous. Number 4, follow rules and conventions. Number 5, accept responsibility. Number 6, emphasize the divine over the mundane. Number 7, be humble, respectful, and courteous. Number 8, do not discard holy scriptures. Number 9, do not be obsessed with appearance. Number 10, keep all procedure transparent. Number 11, departing and returning. Number 12, do not disrupt the system. Number 13, cherish public property. Number 14, be lively in handling affairs. Number 15, be cautious in words and action. Okay. Everyone, please take a seat. Okay, so good evening, Guruji Mercifulness once again, and speakers and all our seniors. So, this one, okay. Okay, so today, this now we will have today is our second lessons, okay, of our Sinter class. Okay, so we are very honored that we today the second lessons we have invite our speaker Isaac to deliver this topic, the path of sins, Maitreya Buddha. So I get to know speaker Isaac last year. That's the first time I saw him when he delivered the Buddha, the story of Buddha. That's the first time I saw him. Yeah, so he delivered the topic in a very interesting and also a lot of additional informations that I never heard before. So he is very knowledgeable in Tao and give us a lot of understanding, a different view of understanding the whole topic. So I actually very looking forward to listen to Speaker Isaac topics also. Yeah, so Speaker Isaac, for those who first time see him, I think most of our beta class participants saw him before. So for those who newly joined us, Speaker Isaac, he is a Tao family, grew up in the Tao family. And also currently he is studying a PhD in Cambridge. Very intelligent and also great wisdoms share with us. So I do not waste too much of his time. Let us represent everyone to invite our speaker to deliver this topic to us. Okay, so number 1. Number 2.
Hi everyone.
Please, Speaker Isaac.
Good afternoon, good evening. Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
Okay, thank you, Speaker Isaac. Number 3, please take a seat.
So, thank you, Guruji, for mercifulness, and thank you, everyone, for giving me a chance to share this topic today. So, first and foremost, I would like to thank our Heavenly Grace, our saints and sages, and virtues of our heavenly holy teachers, and also our Reverend Elder and Reverend Senior Elder for me to have a chance to share this topic with you today, which is regarding our Buddha Maitreya. Can you all see my screen? I think so, right? Okay, excellent. So today I'm going to continue the story which we have discussed last year. So as Speaker Wilson said just now, during the first time I've shared about the story of Buddha Sakyamuni or Gautama Buddha last year. And at that time, Gautama Buddha has actually said that in the future, there is one Buddha is going to lead all the sentient beings, which means lead all of us in this white young era to cultivate. And who is this Buddha? This Buddha is Buddha Maitreya. So today I'm going to continue the story which has been said by Buddha Sakyamuni, and we're going to understand more about our own Grandmaster Maitreya, because we pray to him almost every day. We bow to him almost every day. But do we know his spirit of cultivation? Probably yes, probably not. Right? Whenever we see his statue, it just looks like our Buddha Maitreya, always smiling, very happy, right? So that's why I actually set the topic of this, the Tao and the lifestyle, the pathway of Buddha Maitreya as happiness, so that all of us can understand why our Buddha Maitreya can be so happy all the way, all the way of his cultivation. Why is he so happy? And can we be as happy as our Buddha Maitreya or not? So let us look at that one by one and understand more about not only Buddha Maitreya during the time of Buddha Sakyamuni, but also the previous life and also certain incarnation of our Grandmaster Maitreya, in order to actually create the affinity to all the sentient beings, so that nowadays we can become his disciples. All right. So for most of us, usually, are we feeling happy during certain occasions? Like we are definitely not always laughing all the time, like our Buddha Maitreya statue all the time, right? But we might be happy sometimes, like when we celebrate the New Year, we're so happy looking at the fireworks. Or sometimes we're very happy, not sometimes, always when we celebrate our birthday, we're very happy. Or for parents, like when the children celebrate Father's Days or Mother's Days, they're very happy. And also, when we are being praised by others, for example, when we come to the temple, when we actually share a topic, or we share a good holy song, or we prepare a good meal to serve all the Tao members in the temple, and they say, "Wow, your dishes is really nice, it really tastes good, it's really delicious." When we heard this kind of good praise, we'll be very happy, right? And when we achieve the goals, for example, like just now, our sister set up a family temple. Yes, we achieved the goal, and with our cultivation, we'll be very happy, not only in the South society, but also sometimes in our daily life as well, in our career, in our job. We achieve a certain target, our goal, then we'll be very happy. We can celebrate that. We are very excited of achieving such goals. Or sometimes when we're watching comedy, we're very happy. There's kind of relaxed thing for us to do in a daily life, and then we'll become very happy. We laugh when we watch the comedy. But are those happiness the permanent one or just a temporary one? Can we last all those happiness all the way after we watch the comedy, like just now? And then can we keep laughing until we sleep, and then tomorrow morning we keep laughing again? Probably not, right? Also, when we achieve something, we get a praise from others. For example, in Tao society, by the particular time we got praised, we're very happy. But are we still keep the happiness like tomorrow, the day after, or even next year? Probably not, but just that particular time. So most of this happiness we got usually is just a temporary happiness. But today, when we cultivate, we are going to search for a permanent happiness, which is everlasting forever. And where is the happiness of this permanent happiness coming from? This is the thing we're going to learn from our Grandmaster Maitreya. So that's why today we're going to learn about the story and the background of our Buddha Maitreya. So when we talk about Buddha Maitreya, actually, he has different images in different time. So the very first Buddha Maitreya images or statue is in the 3rd century, found in India. Okay, it's actually it looked like this in Gandhara. All right, and after the teachings of Buddhism being spreaded to China, and then we can start to see Buddha Maitreya statue being created in this way. And this Buddha Maitreya is kind of like it's actually a Bodhisattva Maitreya creature, because one has to cultivate to a certain level to achieve a level of Bodhisattva. And after he or she improved perfection in the cultivation, then he can achieve Buddhahood. So this is the level when Maitreya was in the Bodhisattva level. And this image is when Bodhisattva Maitreya is preaching in a Tusita heaven. It is, we have the heaven has a lot of different layers, and Tusita heaven is one of the layers of the heaven. All right, so this is the image of Bodhisattva Maitreya. And after the teachings about Buddhism, especially regarding Maitreya being popularized in China, and also especially during that time, Buddha Maitreya reincarnated to China and become a monk with this image, fat with a huge belly Maitreya monk. Okay, so we call him as a Buddhai monk. So this is the image that we keep using until right now. And even we always call this as a Chinese style of Kubaran, right? So in India, we have the Kubaran. So this is like a Chinese style of Kubaran. We have a huge belly, and also we also treat him kind of like a god of fortune, right? Because he got a huge bag over there and a lot of fortune inside. So this is kind of like an image he has, even being passed down until right now, and this is quite popular. But if you go to Korea, the Buddhism in Korea is also spread from China, but it is quite special to see that in Korea, the Buddha Maitreya statue is looking like this. It's kind of like a mortarboard, you know, for university students. Once they graduate, they attend a convocation ceremony and they wear a mortarboard. So this is the image of Buddha Maitreya in South Korea. So if you have a chance to travel to South Korea, whenever you see this kind of image, this is a Buddha Maitreya. So our Grandmaster Maitreya has different image. Why? Because he has reincarnated for so many times. So every single time, he has on very special image. So that's why in different place, in different locations, in different culture, we have different image for our Maitreya. All right. So when we talk about Happy Buddha or Buddha Maitreya, we're going to understand his name. So his name is Maitreya, all right, which means mercy or kindness, which means he has cultivated since long time ago, before the life that we have known about him, which means during that time, once he has started to cultivate, he started to practice how to become mercy and kindness to all the sentient beings. And during that time, when it was alive in the Gautama Buddha life, that period, okay, which is about like 2,500 years ago. So Maitreya has reincarnated in India, and his name was Ajita. So Ajita means invincible or unbeatable, which means any kind of, for example, if we take this name from a view of our Tao cultivation, which means unbeatable, means having a pure heart, and one will not be defeated by any temptation or frustration. For example, in our daily lives as well, right? Although we say we are a cultivator, but once we encounter something which is very irritating, we will get angry very easily, right? Can we control our temper? Probably yes, but sometimes, most of the time, not. We will get angry easily and get influenced by the external factors. For example, when we see a Facebook post, okay, it is a fake news, or it is something which is like, affect our life. We'll get very angry, or sometimes we will even believe the fake news as well, right? Our mindset will be affected by those propaganda, by those politicians as well. So this is what we call our mindset is always being affected by these external factors. But for Ajita or Maitreya Buddha, why he's being named as Ajita, which means invincible or unbeatable, which means his heart is so still and will not get affected by others, because he has the wisdom to differentiate which one is the good thing, which one is the wrong thing. So this is why he is not defeated by the temptation or frustration. All right. And this is the life. So that is the life in Buddha Sakyamuni period. But before he reincarnated in Buddha Sakyamuni period, he actually was a cultivator as well. Okay. And during that time, his name is a deity of all bright wisdom. So this deity of all bright wisdom also get the teachings of Buddha Maitreya. So before this, there is another Buddha called Buddha Maitreya. And this deity, which is our Buddha Maitreya, our grandmaster at that time, he was a deity of all bright wisdom. He cultivate and he want to follow that Buddha Maitreya, and he actually make a vow. And he said, I also want to become a Buddha Maitreya in the future. So how to become a Buddha Maitreya in the future? So he wants to practice the spirit of the name. As we can see just now, what is the spirit of the name? What is the meaning of the Maitreya? Mercy and kindness, right? So which means being merciful not only towards human, but also to all the sentient beings, including the animals. So during that time, he actually cultivated in the forest. And as we can understand that during the ancient time, for a cultivator to cultivate, it is totally different like all of us nowadays, because we receive Tao first, right? Then we cultivate Tao. But in the ancient time, in order for a person to receive Tao, they have to practice the Tao first, cultivate first until they achieve the perfection, then they can receive the Tao. So during that time, he was cultivating earnestly, diligently in the forest. But also in the same time, at that time, they have to be 100% a cultivator. Like us, we are actually a part-time cultivator, right? We have our own secular job. We're going to earn money to support, to sustain our life. But also at night, in the evening, we go to the temple to serve the Tao society. So we're kind of like a part-time cultivator. However, although externally we look like a part-time cultivator, but in our heart, we must be 100% cultivator, a full-time cultivator all the time in our heart. When we work, right, we can also cultivate by that time by having our good temper. There is also a way of cultivation, all right? So during that time, since those people in ancient time, they're full-time cultivator, so they have abandoned all the families, all the worldly possessions. They have no money, just a normal monk. They have to carry their arm bowls, okay, and then knock the door by door and ask for the food, right? All the monks in Thailand, and Myanmar, and all those countries, all right? And of course, if all the people in the villages, they live in a good way, of course they can donate the food to actually serve this monk or this deity. However, during one time there was a drought in that area, so even for the villagers, they have not enough food to sustain the life and not enough money to sustain the life. Can they actually donate the food or money to actually serve this deity? Of course not, right? To serve this deity of our Buddha Maitreya in a previous life. Of course cannot, because they can't even support themselves. How can they help others? So during that time, everyone was very hungry, including this deity of all bright wisdom. So this deity of all bright wisdom was like cultivating under the tree, in a very tranquil and calm way, although he has no food to eat, but his stomach is very honest, because when we're hungry, what will happen? Our stomach is making some noise, right? So that noise is actually heard by the god of the particular forest. So that particular the god of that particular forest go and inform all the animals in that forest, and these rabbits, the kingdom of rabbits in that forest received the message, okay? And then the king, the queen of this rabbit kingdom make a vow. And she says, since we have a deity, he will become a Buddha in the future. So I think if he dies, then he cannot propagate Tao anymore. So I think I would like to actually donate my body. I would like to sacrifice myself in order to sustain the life of this deity so that he can become a Buddha in the future, and I will also get married. So he said, so I would like to say goodbye to all of you, all right? And I will serve my meat to this deity. And also during that time, there is another small little rabbit, the hare over there. Once he heard the vow of his mother, and he said, mother, if you want to serve your body, let me also sacrifice together with you. So the god of that forest set up a fire for a barbecue, okay, for the barbecue, and these two rabbits just jump into the fire and barbecue. And so once the barbecue done, so the god of the forest go and inform the deity of this old bright wisdom. And this deity, once he know about this, he was so shocked. Why? Because he would never have an intention to eat the meat of all the sentient beings, right? He was so sad, because all these sentient beings have a very kind and good heart in order to sustain his life. But he has made a vow in order to become a Maitreya in the future, he will not create a bad karma to all the sentient beings. So he will not eat the meat of the animals. So that's why he made a vow. Oh, I can understand the intention of these two rabbits. They're very kind, but I would like to make a vow now and saying that not even right now, in the future, for every single incarnation of myself, I will not eat the meat. And also all my disciples, all my followers will also not eating the meat in their cultivation. So that's why, because of this vow of Maitreya in that time, you can see that nowadays in our Tao society, most of our Tao members, they are actually being influenced by our Maitreya Buddha's vow, and we gradually easily to accept the teachings of vegetarianism, and we practice the veganism easily, right? Because we get the spirit, we got the touch by our Buddha Maitreya, and this is the spirit and affinity of us with Buddha Maitreya. So this is the story of Buddha Maitreya in his previous life. And then when he reincarnated in the life of Gautama Buddha, he was a baby and being born in a prime minister family. So his father was a prime minister, and his father was served to a king. The king at that time is a dictator, very cruel, and very strict. So it is not a good king of the country. So at that time, once baby Maitreya born to this earthly world, as the ancient time, most of people, like even nowadays, most of people will always take the baby and to the fortune teller and ask the fortune teller, look at the baby's face, the appearance, like how you can tell me, like in the future, my baby will be a good person or bad person, or actually even create a name for my baby, right? So during that time, the prime minister carried baby Maitreya to a fortune teller and asked the fortune teller. So the fortune teller looked at this baby and said, wow, how amazing, how perfect the baby is. He will grow up to be a man of good fortune and wisdom, and will surely be a great spiritual teacher in this earthly world. So this is such a great praise to our baby Maitreya at that time. And also, since his father is a prime minister, so of course the story of this baby will be transferred to the king or the dictator at that time. And as we all know, most of the dictator or the king will always get worried if their throne, if their regime will get challenged by some other people, right? So when the fortune teller said this baby Maitreya has such a great power, great wisdom, this dictator think, probably this baby Maitreya will challenge my throne and my country will just gone away. He will take over my throne in the future, probably. He think like that. So he feel very worried and wish to kill baby Maitreya at that time. But is this true? Is baby Maitreya will really challenge the throne of the king? Definitely not, because the mission of Maitreya to this earthly world is not become a king, not become a prime minister, not to become a politician, but to become a spiritual teacher, to guide all the sentient beings to go back to the heaven eternally. And that is the eternal happiness. So that's why his father, prime minister, is really worried, who want to save his baby, right? So he actually put baby Maitreya to the family of his uncle. So his uncle was a master of cultivation as well. So his uncle took care of this baby Maitreya. And baby Maitreya, as being said by the fortune teller, he's really clever and will remember and memorize all the sutra, all the scriptures easily, very fast. And they can even like debate the truth with all the disciples of his uncles. So his uncle think that this baby Maitreya is a very, very good disciples, and he has a very good potential in the future. So he actually instruct one of his disciples to go to the prime minister house to inform the good news to prime minister. Because at that time, we don't have WhatsApp, we don't have Zoom, and we don't have the Facebook Messenger. So definitely he's gonna ask disciples to carry this message to the prime minister just to praise his son. Very good, like that. Okay. So on his disciples' way journey to the prime minister house, so he passed by the monastery of Gautama Buddha Sakyamuni. So Buddha Sakyamuni was that time sitting over there and giving the Dharma to his disciples, and the disciple of his uncle was passing by and listened to the teachings of Gautama Buddha and being very touched. However, after that, his disciples continued the way to the house of prime minister. He actually, unfortunately, encountered a tiger, and a tiger has killed and ate the disciples of his uncle. So he passed away, and a message can be sent to the prime minister. All right. And of course, afterwards, his uncle knows that his disciples was being eaten by the tiger. He was very sad, and he think that this disciple is really good. I'm gonna help him. So how he helped him? He actually organized a banquet, a party, and actually invited a lot of monks and cultivators to come over to enjoy the food and give them the money. All right, and also by using all this serving and the donation, the contributions, so that they can transfer the merit to the deceased disciples, the disciples that has just passed away. And then at that time, there was a monk. The monk was a cultivator, definitely, but he was late. And by that time, all the banquet, all the food was just gone, being eaten, all gone. And also all the money has been just distributed, finished, no more. But since this monk just coming late, he got nothing. He got very angry. As well know, he is still a cultivator. He is not perfect enough. He is not a Buddha. So that cultivator, like all of us, we are cultivator, right? We'll get angry sometimes, right? Same goes to that cultivator as well. So when he arrived, he can see nothing on the table, no food, no money. He was very angry, and he cursed his uncle and said, you must give me some money. He said, I have no money anymore. I have distributed all my money. And he said, so since you don't have money, then I want to curse you. I will curse you. Your head will be broken into pieces and will die in a very, very terrible way. He cursed his uncle in that way. And his uncle is very worried because these cultivators, sometimes they have some black magic. So their curse may come true. So he was very worried. And at that time, the deceased disciples, the soul of disciples actually give a dream to his uncle and say, don't worry. Nowadays, we have Gautama Buddha in this world. If you follow him, you cultivate under Gautama Buddha, you'll be safe. All the black magic, all the curse will just all gone. It won't be realized. And that's true. Like all of us right now, we are the disciples of Buddha Jigong, Bodhisattva Yue Hui, and also Buddha Maitreya. If we cultivate earnestly, okay, and also we devote ourselves in Tao society. If we face or encounter some bad people, evil person who curse us or who has make a black magic toward us, that all that black magics will not come true, will not be realized. Why all that black magic will fail? Because heavenly mandate, the heavenly decree, and all the power of Buddha will actually has a higher level than all this black magic, because all this black magic are circular thing. So definitely, if we cultivate earnestly, we have the merit can actually overcome all this black magic. So this is a very good message to all of us. So at that time, his uncle understand this and send his disciples together with Maitreya and go to the monastery of Buddha Sakyamuni to see if Buddha Sakyamuni or Gautama Buddha is the real Buddha. So how do they test? How do they test if this is a real Buddha or not? They say, we actually made a consensus. We don't want to talk verbally to Buddha Sakyamuni. How do we talk to him? We talk to him silently in our heart. If he is a real Buddha, he can listen what I said in my heart. Oh, this is very special. Not every one of us can do something like that, right? So only the real Buddha can receive the message from our mind. So we have to be careful, right? In our daily life as well. If we have a bad thought, we might think that only I myself can know this, but actually it's not. Heaven can know this. All the Buddha can understand what is in our mind. They can read our mind. So at that time, Maitreya, together with his uncle disciples, went to the monastery of Buddha Sakyamuni in this, what happened to my slide? In the Rajaga. So in this monastery, okay, in this monastery, Buddha Sakyamuni was actually preaching inside, and suddenly Buddha Sakyamuni he was mumbling. So Buddha Sakyamuni's disciples do not understand why Buddha Sakyamuni was answering something and talking to himself, while we do not hear who is talking to Buddha Sakyamuni. And they have all the Maitreya and all the followers are very surprised. Why? Because they ask a very trivial thing. Why? They ask, what is the name of my uncle? How old is my uncle? And also, how many disciples does my uncle have? So all this simple question, Buddha Sakyamuni can answer correctly. And even though they didn't ask verbally, Buddha Sakyamuni can still read the mind. So they are very surprised, and they make a vow and say, we want to follow Buddha Sakyamuni's step and become the Buddha Sakyamuni's disciples. So this is how they become one of the disciples of Buddha Sakyamuni, including Buddha Maitreya. All right. And actually at that time, Buddha Sakyamuni has actually indicated that the next Buddha will be Maitreya. Why? Because at that time, most of the disciples in the ancient time, as we all know, everyone has to meditate over there and then achieve the tranquility and the calmness. They can't think anything, very stable frequency in their mind, right? This is their way of cultivation, to meditate. And also they have to remove the defilement and also the agony, all the worriness in their mind. They have to let go all of this so that their heart can stay calm and peaceful. But Maitreya did not cultivate in that way. Okay, Maitreya do not like to meditate. Maitreya do not like to remove all the worriness in his mind. So most of the people just wondering, this person doesn't like to cultivate in a good way. They are very worried about him. But they also ask Gautama Buddha, ask Sakyamuni Buddha, how would Maitreya be like in the future? And Sakyamuni Buddha said he will become a Buddha in the future. Everyone was very shocked. And also in the same time, last time the aunt of Sakyamuni Buddha actually made a golden garment. Okay, this one, the golden garment, to offer that to Buddha Sakyamuni. And Buddha Sakyamuni say, oh, I don't want to receive this. You can just give to any of my disciples. And most of the disciples are not there to receive the golden garment, because this was intended to give to Buddha Sakyamuni. So no disciples is willing to take that. But this golden garment being handed over to Maitreya at that time, Maitreya just received that happily. You all don't want that? No worries, I will take that. I'm happy to take that. So he just received that golden garment for himself. So, and Buddha Sakyamuni also at that time, and saying that he also handed this golden garment to his great disciples called Mahakashapa. Okay, Mahakashapa is the great disciples of Buddha Sakyamuni at that time. He instructed him saying that you cannot go to Nirvana, which means you cannot pass away. You cannot enter Nirvana. And you have to keep this golden garment and cultivate in a mountain called Kukuta Padagiri. It's actually in India. Cultivate in that mountain in meditation. And in the future, after 5.6 billion years later, when Maitreya become a Buddha in this earthly world, you should come out from that mountain and handed this golden garment to Maitreya. And at that time, he will officially to become a Buddha. So he has instructed Mahakashapa at that time. And also, Sakyamuni Buddha also conferred upon Maitreya the title of Maitreya Buddha. What he said in the sutra, Buddha said, Maitreya, I'm exhorting you in the future after the 500 years. So when we do the calculation in mathematics, 5 times 500, which means it's equal to 2,500 years. So our difference between Buddha Sakyamuni until right now, okay, the difference is also exactly about like 2,500 years, which means what Buddha Sakyamuni said during that time, which means right now. Okay, right now in our time. He said in the future, which means in our time, the future is now. When the true Dharma deteriorates, you should protect the 3 germs and avoid its secession, which means Maitreya Bodhisattva at that time should come over to this earthly world and guide all the sentient beings by cultivating with the 3 germs, the 3 treasures. And not only in that, we will look at every single different sutra later regarding the information given by Buddha Sakyamuni. So not only during the time of Buddha Maitreya at that time in the period of Buddha Sakyamuni, and also I actually missed a slide just now. So when the Maitreya mother was having a pregnant, previously Maitreya's mother has a very bad temper, get angry, irritated easily. But after she got pregnant, okay, and having baby Maitreya, his temper become very good, very kind person. And this is what we can see from a spirit of Maitreya Buddha. He can actually influence others. Just like all of us, we should also influence others. In every of Maitreya's life, can see right now, he, no matter in which region, which country Maitreya has reincarnated, we can see that Maitreya actually doing his mercy and kindness spirit and also the vow in every single of his life. So this is the Bodhisattva image, as I shown you just now, in the Tusita heaven. And after that, he reincarnates a lot of time, especially in one of the scripture in our Tao society. It is called as the profound scriptures of our Grandmaster Jingong, and he declared that he has reincarnated, at least in China, for 13 times. For 13 times in China. Okay, so in China, he has once become a master Fu, become a monk Buddha, and this image was very famous. It is really famous until even right now. And he has three times becomes the patriarch of our Tao lineage. The 13th patriarch Xu Huanwu, the 15th patriarch Wang Jueyi, and the 17th patriarch our Grandmaster Jingong. All of them, they're actually Maitreya. All right, so let us look at the first incarnation in China, which is the Master Fu. So the first thing, another happiness that our Maitreya can get from is from a realization of Tao. Why? Because always we have a label to different religion, to different people. This guy is from Hinduism. This guy is from Buddhism. This guy is from Christianity. this guy is from Islam, right? We always have the label and differentiate ourselves from others. Can we get happy? Always different religions, they will always dispute and quarrel with each other, right? Like sometimes Christianity, they don't like the people who practice Islam. And sometimes the Buddhism will always criticize Christianity. So they always have this kind of dispute. If all the religions are teaching good things and spreading the message of love, but people, the followers of that particular religion don't really spread the love, will they become happy? No, they will always criticize others. And it's so nobody can achieve the happiness. And so Maitreya actually achieved the happiness. The first one is from the realization of Tao, which means all religions, they are the same, no difference. So one time, Masterful, when he reincarnated as the Masterful, he went to the palace and meet Emperor Liangwu at that time. So Emperor Liangwu at that time, he was very devoted to Buddhism. So when he met Emperor Liangwu saw his attire like this, wearing a Taoist hat, a monk sock, and also Confucian scholar's shoes. He was very confused, and Emperor Liangwu asked him, like, so are you representing a monk, a Buddhism, representing a monk, or which means you are actually trying to reflect Buddhism right now? He shook his head, and then he pointed to his head and said, oh, so which means you are representing Taoism? And he said, no, and pointed to his shoes. So he said, Emperor Liangwu said, so which means you're representing Confucianism only right now? He said, no. 3 of these religions in China, they are all the same, one family. So that's why I wear all this attire in my body. So which means at that time, he has tried to say the religion in China, these 3 religions, they are the same. They have the same origin. All of them are actually regarding Tao. So even nowadays, we have all the religions all around the world. All of them are actually being sent by our heavenly matter, our supreme God in the heaven, so that they're just trying to send a message about Tao. Only you can realize what is Tao. No label, no discrimination, and actually no hatred between all the religions. This is the realization of Tao. If we try to put the label, you are Buddhist, you are Hindu, you are Christian, then we won't be happy, because this is not the Tao. All right. And also another time when Maitreya being reincarnated as a Buddha monk, as I shown you just now, in which this Kubaran-like image it is really famous. And during that time, there's a very famous story in China as well. He got his happiness by having the control on our own temper. So at that time, he went to a temple in China. So a lot of monks, they're waiting the timing for lunch. So like 12 o'clock, they have a lunch together. So they sit together. So also they have a long table, kind of like a sitting arrangement. So of course, always the sitting at the end of it is the main seat, okay, for the great monk or the venerable monk of that particular monastery. So at that time, this Buddha monk, he passed by. He is not the monk attached to this monastery. He's not. But he passed by. Lunchtime, he go in and then he sit down to the main seat. And a lot of the monk of that temple was very shocked. Who are you? You are just a stranger monk. How dare you to sit on this main seat of our venerable master of this monastery? So one of the monks was very angry. He pulled his ear to the door and said, how dare you? You should go out, and drag his ear to the door, to the entrance. But unknowingly, very shockingly, when he turned his head, he said, what he can see, Maitreya, the Buddha monk, was still sitting on a seat, but the earlobe was being dragged in a very long way, just like a chewing gum, but a chewing gum, very long, being dragged very long way to the entrance. Very special, like a magic, right? And at that time, the venerable master of that particular temple just came out from the kitchen and see this situation and say, how dare you, my disciples? This is not an ordinary and normal monk. He is a Buddha. You should say sorry, apologize to this monk. So you see, but at that time, is this Maitreya, is this Buddha, Maitreya monk, this Buddha monk get very angry? No. Although people treat him in a bad way, he's still very calm, very happy. He will not get angry. But sometimes in our daily life, when we get misunderstood by others, or somebody else, say something bad on us, we will get very angry, right? We feel not fair to ourselves, so we try to explain, and we try to even quarrel with others. So how we can see our Buddha Maitreya control the temper, and we can achieve the happiness. And also when we cultivate, we can become happy. So what is the Tao cultivation? To remove our bad temper, to remove our bad habits. This is a very foundation thing to do in our Tao cultivation. All right. So at that time, this Buddha monk, this Buddha monk, our Maitreya Buddha, at that time, just walking by a paddy field, and then he see the people will start to put the seedlings in the field, right? And he start to say a poem. He said, put the seedlings in the field, and you can see the reflection of the sky in the water with your head down. What does that mean? Always when we want to look at the sky, the thing which is, stay up there, we need to put our head like that, and our head will get very tired, right? And what he said is put ourselves down, to be humble. When we get humble, we knock our head down. We don't have to be so exhausting or very tired, look at the sky, but just look down and we can see the reflection of the sky, which means if we are humble, we can make all the things to be done easily, and we have a good affinity with lots of people. If we are very arrogant, we are very proud, then can all the sentient beings become our friend? Probably not. We don't like people who are arrogant. So definitely, if we don't like arrogance from other people, we ourselves don't be arrogant, be humble. Just like if we are starting to practice the vegetarianism as well, we cannot be like, I'm a vegetarian right now. All my friends, they are meat eaters. They like to eat meat. So I will be like, I'm a very pure person right now. I don't want to join you all. Can we be like that? Cannot. We need to influence them and let them to cultivate together with us. This is the main thing, and then we can become happy. And then he said, continue to say, maintaining the purity of the mind is Tao. Tolerance is the real improvement in cultivation. Sometimes we might think that tolerance, it seems like, oh, which means I was being defeated by others, right? I was being defeated, KO. So I lost in this quarrel, and it is not. Although we've been tolerant to others, but it is an improvement. We're actually one step forward to achieve the Buddhahood. This is a very important thing. And once we can actually start to feel the message and practice the message from this poem by Buddha monk, our Maitreya Buddha, we can understand the happiness from Tao cultivation. And this is why Maitreya Buddha can become so happy all the time. So our affinity with Buddha Maitreya is not as easy like that. Like we just come to the temple, pray to him, just like that. Actually, this is actually the message and instruction from Sakyamuni Buddha, Gautama Buddha, and in the ancient time, 2,500 years ago. So at that time, in this sutra, Gautama Buddha said, I now hand my disciples over to Maitreya so that they can achieve the liberation in a dragon flower assembly. Okay, which is in the future, we will have a great assembly, a Dharma assembly, together with Maitreya Buddha, and every person who attended that dragon flower assembly, once they listen to the Dharma being preached by Buddha Maitreya, they will achieve a very high level of Buddhahood or cultivation at that time. So this is a very important thing in not only in our Tao society, but also in Buddhism as well. So Buddha Sakyamuni said, how to become a disciple of Buddha Maitreya in the future? He said, for any sentient beings in the future, as long as they donate just a palmful of food for the others, then they have accumulated a great affinity to meet Maitreya and will eventually receive the ultimate path of Tao, ultimate path of Bodhi. So which means we're very lucky, you see. The threshold, the requirement to become a disciple of Buddha Maitreya is so easy. We just need to do some donation. we have this such good affinity, we have this such good virtue and merit to meet Buddha Maitreya. So how lucky we are. We are now the disciples of Buddha Maitreya. And also, Gautama Buddha said, he said, Upali. So Upali is actually the one of the disciples of Buddha Sakyamuni, and he said, listen attentively and pay heed. When the sentient beings in the future, which is right now, all of us, the 2,500 years later, which is right now, will take refuge, which means follow Buddha Maitreya, okay, follow Bodhisattva Maitreya, those who do so will attain the unsurpassed path, which is Tao, and the non-regressing will of Dharma. So which means that all of us, we follow Buddha Maitreya, right? So all of us, when we follow Buddha Maitreya, we can attain the unsurpassed Tao. We receive Tao. This is what is being recorded in the sutra, being said by Buddha Sakyamuni. So we are doing the right thing. And you see, Buddha Sakyamuni also said in another sutra, he said, in the future, all of you will create a merit, guard your discipline, and take birth in the presence of Buddha, Bodhisattva Maitreya. And Bodhisattva Maitreya will then bless of you. And Upali, if you have such view, it is said to be a right view. Any other view would be a wrong view. So which means in nowadays, 2,500 years later of Buddha Sakyamuni, Buddha Sakyamuni said, this time, all sentient beings should pray and follow Buddha Maitreya. If you follow any other way, it is not a right view, because right now, it is time for Buddha Maitreya. So we should follow Buddha Maitreya. So actually, we follow the right Buddha, for the right Buddha to cultivate in a Tao society. And he says, at that time, we have to know that at that time, most of the people that should cultivate first, then they receive Tao. So not every disciples of Sakyamuni Buddha at that time have achieved the Tao level. So not all of them receive Tao. Okay, only some of them can receive Tao at that time, but not all of them. So at that time, for those disciples of Gautama Buddha who has not received Tao, what did they do? Those who had not attained the path to the Tao, they made a vow, the aspiration, they make a promise. They say, they make this aspiration, say that in the presence of Gautama Buddha, saying that in the future, having abandoned our bodies, behold noble Maitreya and reborn in the heaven of joy, which means all these disciples who did not receive Tao at that time, they make a vow in saying that in the future, when we reincarnated again in this earthly world again, we will follow Buddha Maitreya. So that's why Gautama Buddha, even like our Buddha in the Tao society, always told us that most of us, we are ever disciples of Gautama Buddha. It's just that probably at that time we haven't achieved the Tao. We haven't received Tao at that time yet. But don't worry, we still accumulate the merit. So many lives reincarnated until right now, it is time for us to meet Buddha Maitreya and we receive the Tao in front of Buddha Maitreya. So just now when I talk about Buddha Maitreya and Bodhisattva Maitreya, so he is actually a Buddha or Bodhisattva. As I said, Bodhisattva, one step forward he increased, will become a Buddha. All right. So which level is our Grandmaster is at? So according to the sutra has recorded that Maitreya has become a Buddha long time ago. It is just that his original vows of mercy and compassion, he chooses to achieve Buddhahood physically in the future. So which means he is already a Buddha. Okay, it is just that he wants to save all of us. So he showed himself as a Bodhisattva in order to get friend, to become a friend with us, so that he can save us, create an affinity with us. But the main target in the future is to achieve the Buddhahood in 5.6 billion years later. But he is already a Buddha, but officially 5.6 billion years later. Okay, but already he is a Buddha. So we are very fortunate following a Buddha. So during in the 5.6 billion years later, as according to Sutra, there will be 3 assemblies of dragon flowers, as I said just now. The assembly, like the Holy Sermon assembly that we have. Okay, but it will be in charge by our Buddha Maitreya. So right now we are in this circular world. Once we receive Tao, Okay, we cultivate, but as I said just now, we are still a part-time cultivator, right? We might not have get rid all of our bad temper. We are still get irritated easily sometimes. We might still have some bad habits sometimes. Okay, but if we are as good as our reverend elder, reverend senior elder, okay, like Bodhisattva 不修习 great sage 白水, then we can, when we pass away, we can definitely directly surpass this circular world and directly return to the supreme heaven, okay, together with our heavenly matter, with our supreme God. However, since we're part-time cultivator, we might not be able to get rid all of the bad habits, all of the bad tempers before we pass away. So what should we do? Luckily, we are actually following our Buddha Maitreya. So he has created this Tusita heaven, which is one of the one of the layers of the heaven, and this layer is called Maitreya's Pure Land. So this is like a transit. So when still you can imagine when we actually take a flight, probably like from Singapore, from India, from Malaysia, from Taiwan, you want to fly over probably to United States or to United Kingdom. Sometimes there is no direct flight, right? If you go, you manage to take a direct flight from circular world to supreme heaven, like our Bodhisattva 不修习, our great sage 白水, that is good. But if not, then we might need to make a transit, right? Make a transit, maybe in Dubai, maybe in some other countries. Then we can, from that particular transit airport, we continue our journey to our destination. So the Tusita heaven is just like an airport for our transit to supreme heaven. So that in the future, okay, if we still have something to improve ourselves, to perfect ourselves, we will go to the Tusita heaven. All right, we'll get the teachings from our Maitreya Buddha, and then in the future, 5.6 billion years later, we will coming down to this earthly world again, together with our Maitreya Buddha, to organize these 3 assemblies of dragon flower and achieve the Buddhahood together with officially with our Maitreya Buddha, and we return to the supreme heaven together. So it is a very good way, like 2 ways, and these 2 ways, as long as we have received Tao, definitely we can go to the supreme heaven. It's just that you want to take a long journey, a long journey like this, or a short journey or shortcut like this. It depends on us, okay? So definitely, hopefully all of us can directly return to the supreme heaven. But if we cannot, don't worry, we have received Tao, at least we can make a transit in Maitreya's Pure Land, okay? So what is the preciousness of the Maitreya's Pure Land? It is near because this layer of heaven is the closest to this earthly world. There are a lot of different heavens due to the vow or created by the vow of a lot of different Buddhas, but the Maitreya's Pure Land is the closest to this earthly world, so it's easier to transfer to that particular layer of heaven. Also, it's easy to cultivate. It's easy. Why? Just like all of us, you see, we can, we don't have to shave our hair, become a monk to cultivate, right? We can have our hair, we can have our own family, we can still have our own our career, we can still have our own way to earning our money to sustain our life, right? The way of cultivation is really easy. We don't have to really sitting over there doing the meditation 24 hours. 24/7, which sometimes for people cannot simply sit over there for cultivation like that. So for all of us, like we have having a class, we listen to the lecture, we listen to the sharing. It is all one of our way to cultivate, right? If we go to temple, we set up a temple like our sister just now. It is also one of our way to cultivate. So the way of cultivation is really easy and it is accessible, which means it can benefit all the sentient beings with different affinities. Because sometimes some of the sentient beings, they have a very great wisdom. So they can understand very profound and difficult teachings. But some of us like me, sometimes I can't understand very profound and complicated teachings. Then if that's the case, I can't receive Tao, right? No, that's not the case. For Buddha Maitreya, it can benefit all the sentient beings, and all the sentient beings can get to the Maitreya ways of cultivation easily. All right, and how to get to the Pure Land? You see, in this sutra, Buddha Sakyamuni said, anyone who hears the name of Maitreya and pray him with joy and respect shall return to the Pure Land in a mere snap of finger, just like, and then you can return to heaven. So easy, just like us. When we receive Tao, can you still remember the ceremony of receiving Tao? When we receive Tao, right, we make a bow to Maitreya. We listen and we pray to Buddha Maitreya, right? So in the future, when we pass away, just like this.
ถ้าคนเยอะเดี๋ยวมันคิดอะไรมากไง
อ๋อ
คนแบบคนน้อยๆจะดีนะ
ครั
ฮะ
บครับ
ก็อยากจะ
ถ้าเกิดเราออกมาแล้วเราต้องไม่เอาเข้าไปเลยนะ
สบายแล้วเพราะว่า
He carries his body out.
นี่คนรักธรรมะนะครับจะเป็นตัวไม่แข็งนะครับ
So this is the proof. Like, what is the evidence that we have returned to the heaven? What is the proof that we have returned to the Maitreya's Pure Land? This is the proof. Our body will become soft, right? Because we pass away in a very relaxed way. We are not panic. Because some people, their body is very stiff because they're panicked. They don't know where to go. But once we receive Tao, we know our direction in the future. So our body will be very soft. And this is the evidence that we have just in a snap of finger, we return to the Maitreya's Pure Land. All right. And how do we cultivate? By follow the 5 precepts and the 15 temple rules that I have recited just now, and engage the 6 practices. So accumulate all the merits, and as we all can do in the temple, dignify our appearance, behavior, attire, wear nicely, clean the temple, offer the incense and flowers, maintain the tranquility and the calmness, and recite the sutras. And all these practices is what we can do in a temple. And this is how we cultivate according to Maitreya cultivation. And we always chant the name of Buddha Maitreya, like Namo Buddha Maitreya, Namo Tianyuan Taibao Amidaba. This is in the Maitreya Sutra. And Namo Amitem Buddha Tianyuan in our prayer, okay, in our incense, morning and evening incense offering. We always recite this, right? So when we recite the divine mantra and the holy name of Buddha Maitreya, this is also a way for us to cultivate and create affinities with our Buddha Maitreya, with our Grand Master. All right, and Buddha Sakyamuni said, whoever who pray respectfully to Buddha Maitreya will be liberated from the birth and death and sins, and all their misdeeds will be purified. So that's why we always like make a repentance in front of Buddha Maitreya when we do our incense offering. All right, and yeah, this is the thing. So, and also when we transfer our merits, also we will transfer the merits in so that we can bond together in the Maitreya land of ultimate bliss. And after we chant, so that's why how we become happy. The first thing, a smiley face, great tolerance, merciful heart, and follow the affinity. All of us, if we have these kind of characteristics, then that means we are the avatar. We are one of the Maitreya's disciples. All right. So which means, as we can all see, Buddha Maitreya, he has a vow, not only to create the heaven and not only to create a pure land in the heaven, but also he wants to transfer that pure land to this earthy world. And it needs the joint effort of all of us as the disciples of Buddha Zhigong and Bodhisattva Yue to help our Grandmaster Maitreya to transform this earthy world a better place. So until right now, it is the end of the Buddha Maitreya story. It's actually a lot of story, but it's only 1 hour. I can only share this limited story with all of you. And I hope that you all can understand how our Grandmaster Maitreya cultivate in a previous life, and every single life, he maintained his happiness through realization of Tao, through Tao cultivation, through his merciful heart to all the sentient beings. And all of this is the way to maintain the permanent happiness, and also to be able to surpass the cycle of birth and death and directly go back to the supreme heaven, and do not need to reincarnate again to this earthly world again and suffering in a sea of suffering again. It is the real and permanent happiness. So I hope that we can learn something from our Maitreya Buddha, and we can start to practice his spirit, and so that all of us can be happy all the time. So are you happy? Hopefully all of us can get the real message from our Buddha. So if I said anything wrong, I would like to beg that forgiveness from our Buddhas and the sages, and I will also like to beg forgiveness from our Guruji, and hopefully all of us can have a happy day, and take care, all of you. Thank you very much.
Number 1. Number 2, thank you, Speaker Isaac.
Thank you, everyone. Please be seated.
Number 3, please take a seat. All right, once again, thank you, our Speaker Isaac. Is this a very nice topic, everyone? Oh, so we give our Speaker Isaac a round of applause. Huh? Once again, thank you, our Speaker Isaac, for delivering such a wonderful topic. Yeah, today I also will benefit a lot. Oh, I'm so fortunate to be the MC today. So be extra concentrate on this topic. Oh, that I've really learned a lot of things from our Speaker Isaac. Yeah, very nice topic. Especially, I like the example using from our secular world to supreme heaven. In the middle of the Tosai heaven is a transit. It's a transit. So I like this example a lot. So it makes us give us more confidence and faith. Definitely, as long as we work into it, one day we will definitely reach the supreme heaven. Yeah, it's a matter of time. As long as we continue to not give up, definitely we will reach to the destination one day. So once again, thank you, our Speaker Isaac. So our class, single class, is quite different from last year paper class, because as most of you have attended last year paper class, after our lesson, usually we have a short discussion, right? Yeah, but because this year our single class is 2 lessons at one time, so the time is very long. So we will not have any discussion after the topic. But no worry, as for those who have take down all the notes and listen very carefully, no worry. We will have some quiz after this, okay? So our speaker Maureen, Sister Maureen, will prepare the questions and will send the link in our WhatsApp group. So everyone, please remember to go to the website to remember to write your name and answer all the questions. So all the questions will be related by these 2 topics today. Okay. So today these 2 topics are also I feel that quite a coincidence and also a very nice arrangement in this way. Yeah, because in the first topic, our Guruji mentioned about the golden path and heavenly mandate. And right after that, our speaker Isaac mentioned about story of Buddha Maitreya. Inside the Buddha of Maitreya story, mentioned using a lot of historical records and also the sutra that mentioned that Maitreya Buddha is the future Buddha and all this. Once again, tell us that the heavenly mandate is true. The golden path is so true that we today are very fortunate and blessings to follow under Fai Chongte. To cultivate as a Tao cultivators. Okay, so Speaker Myra, got anything want to say? Want to share?
Oh no, it's okay.
Okay 好，那后续没有漏掉什么东西哦？
没有。
没有啊 ，OK 好。Okay, so Guruji Mercifulness, anything you want to mention?
Okay, no, okay, thank you.
Okay,
Oh,
thank you.
下一次上课。
对，我要放上来那个 PowerPoint 啊。Okay, so our next lesson will be delivered by our speaker Myra. Okay, so both lessons for next week. Okay, so next week, although 2 lessons, same speaker. Okay, but we will also have 2 MC. Okay, so Guruji Mercifulness, anyone you wish to recommend, or I can give the recommendation of the next 2 MC?
Okay, you choose, brother. Okay, now I want to speak after seeing the topic, please.
Okay, Guruji.
Okay, thank you, Speaker Wilson. See, the topic name is Bhagavad Gita Part 1 and Bhagavad Gita Part 2. Really, I am proud to say that Speaker Myra delivering this topic. Frankly speaking, really, I don't know the subject inside. A little bit only know, not much level. But since Speaker Myra is staying in Taiwan, but she's purely Malaysian, but she is going to deliver the topic about the Bhagavad Gita. Means we are all very proud to listen the 2 topics. Really, hats off to our speaker Myra to such a special and deliver the topic, because this is not an easy one, because the Bhagavad Gita is one of the Hindu spiritual way the people used to read and many things inside. Okay, really you have taken a lot of effort. Before taking the lesson, I can tell that because you already doing many research and a lot of things. Advance congratulations and best wishes for your topic. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Guruji.
Thank you,
Mercifulness.
Guruji. Mercifulness.
Because Guruji see the topic, he very familiar because this is a Hindu sutra, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, because this sutra, when we go through the yoga, international yoga training, we must study this sutra, and we still have the examination for this. So has for the yogi, yeah, we all must read this sutra. So I just but I need to say sorry first because I just try to study, and maybe I think some part will make the connection to the Tao. Yeah, because inside got many very inner actually not really easy to understand, but I try my best. Okay, thank you, Guruji. Mercifulness.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Speaker Myra. So, wow, this statement made me even looking forward for next week. Not next week, the next time. Okay, so our lesson streaming class is every 2 weeks once. Okay, so since the next lesson is our Speaker Myra, my suggestion, okay, my recommendation for the 2 MC will be the Chinese class, because Speaker Myra took the Chinese class for almost 2 years. So I suggest 2 Anita. First topic, first lesson, the first one, part 1, Anita Nagarajan. Part 2, Anita Selvam. Both of you to be the MC for the next lesson. Both of you, okay?
Okay, brother. Okay, brother.
Okay, so 2 Anita to support our sister Myra. Okay, so before we end, once again, we thank our speaker Isaac for today delivering the topic. Also thank you, Guruji Mercifulness. Okay, so we come to the end of our lesson today. So everyone, please, number 1. Thank you to all Buddha, saints and sages. 3 bow, 1 bow, 2 bow, 3 bow. Great sage Pai Shui, 1 bow. Bodhisattva Pushusi, 1 bow. Okay, please take a seat. Thank you, Guruji Mercifulness. Thank you, all Tao brothers and sisters. And also thank you, our speaker Isaac. Okay, see you all next class.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker Isaac. Thank you.
Thank you, speaker. Thank you, speaker. Thank you, Guruji. Thank you, brother.